Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. Before I get into the bill, I'd like to thank my ranking member, Mr. Moran, for his work. He's been a partner in trying to address the concerns that this committee addresses, and while we might not agree on every issue, we've had a great working relationship, and I appreciate that. I also want to thank the full committee chairman, Mr. Rogers, for his oversight of this and making sure that we can get it done, and Mr. Dix, who's been on this subcommittee since forever, since it was a subcommittee, since Adam and Eve, since there's been an environment, I guess. First of all, the fiscal year 2013 Interior and Environment Bill is funded at $28 billion, which is $1.2 billion, or 4% below the 2012 enacted level, and $1.7 billion, or 6% below the budget request. It fits within the 302B given to this committee. While the bill makes significant reductions across many agencies and programs, it also prioritizes funding to address the needs of several key accounts supported by a bipartisan cross-section of members. For instance, fire suppression at the Department of Interior and the Forest Service is fully funded at a 10-year average. Looking at the fires as they started this year, we hope that's enough, but we've put it at the 10-year average. The operations for our national parks are sustained at levels only slightly below last year, which means every park unit in the country will be operational and staffed at sufficient levels. Finally, the bill also makes critical investments in Indian country, an area of particular interest to the bipartisan members of this committee. Again, this year, there's a great deal of concern over the sheer volume of regulatory actions being pursued by agencies in the absence of legislation without clear congressional direction. This is particularly true with the EPA. Wherever I go, the biggest complaint I hear about is the federal government is how the EPA is creating economic uncertainty and killing jobs. We included a limited number of provisions in the base bill to address some of these issues. I'm sure we will see additional efforts to rein in the EPA today. I know there will be criticisms over spending reductions to the EPA accounts. Overall funding for the EPA is reduced by $1.4 billion, or 17%, from fiscal year 2012 enacted level. It's worth pointing out that the clean water and drinking water state revolving funds are funded at the same level we proposed in last year's bill, at just over $1.5 billion. This is the beginning of a long process. I do believe that at the end of this process we will come together, as we always do, to find common ground. Before I close, I'd like to thank the staff on both sides of the aisle for their hard work. They've worked day and night and weekends for months, and their efforts are greatly appreciated by the members of this subcommittee and of the full committee. I would also say that somebody, I suspect, is going to say something like, austerity doesn't work. I've heard that from some members. Let me tell you, this is not austerity. This is a 4% reduction. We can deal with this when we have the size of budget deficit that we have in this country. Are there some accounts in here that people would like to see more money in? Sure there are. But the reality is we still face a $16.5 trillion deficit, and we have to address it, and reducing spending has to be a part of that. So I wouldn't call this austerity. I'd call it a tough budget, but one that addresses the needs and the core missions of the agencies that we oversee. I thank the chairman, and yield back.